I have to be here and figure out how to not be annoying. And I found that just standing around being quiet, as long as you're not putting yourself in a position where you're in everybody's way, or you're asking a lot of questions, or you're trying to direct your child in front of the director, like you can't do those things.
This is the Faith and Family Filmmakers Podcast, helping filmmakers who share a Christian worldview stay in touch, informed, and inspired. Quiet on set. Rolling. Your hosts, Geoffrey and Jaclyn Whitt.
Welcome to the Faith and Family Filmmakers Podcast. I'm Jaclyn, and Jeff and I are speaking with Sarah Henderson today. She is the mother of a child actor, and so I want to learn how do you manage that? Do you have other children, or is she your only child?
Yes, she is my one and done. So she does get all of my attention.
All right. Well, with all of your responsibilities, do you have another job, or does this take up a lot of your time? How much of your time and focus does it take?
Well, it used to take a lot more before we kind of got our mind wrapped around how we were going to do it and got connected with Gene. I used to be scouring Actors Access and casting networks and all that kind of stuff to submit her. And it was so it really makes you have this tightening feeling, just like this stressed feeling of I don't want to miss a role, or I don't want to miss submitting her for something. And again, that whole letting go. I mean, I got to the point where I was like, okay, God, this is your plan for her. You've clearly laid that out, at least for now. This is your plan. And I'm going to let, the professionals do what they do.
Right.
And I'm going to just nurture and raise my daughter. And I'm going to let everybody else take care of the rest. So I became more hands off. Now, I mean, yes, I still check Actors Access and I still get things every once in a while that I'll send over to Jean and say, hey, what about this? And she might know more about it. But I've kind of relinquished that more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a writer, so I started focusing on, I used to write novels with a friend of mine. And then after multiple rejections from those and realizing, maybe I'm not a novel writer, and seeing all these scripts come across my desk for Emma, I'm like, what if I tried writing a script? I'm like, what if I tried that? Now everybody's like, don't sit around and wait for something to happen, make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, well, I'll write a script and cast Emma, I'm like, let's do that. So I got together with one of my friends and we wrote a feature that we have a director connected to already. And we have a shopping agreement, and some of the streaming services are reading it right now, which is insane. I can't even realize that that's where we are, but Emma's cast in it. So that will hopefully film in November in Fredericksburg, Texas. So
wow, congratulations.
Thank you. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, now it's like Emma and I are kind of in the same world in a way, to where I can write stuff, and she's actually gotten kind of excited wanting to try and write her own stuff too. So
good for her.
That's cool.
So yeah, and we just keep working and learning new things and lots of experiences, like you said in my bio that I've been a private investigator, lots of things that that I've done that can come out in story.
Oh yeah. You can draw from life. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're kind of in the same world now, but of course you've been in the same world ever since she started acting.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the things we haven't talked about, well, we did discuss helping look for roles and such. You're with her on set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jaclyn actually has a son who did background acting, and he was a teenager, but she still had to be there with him on set. So it would have been somewhat different, but perhaps most of our listeners would recognize and know that a child isn't on set alone. Tell us about that. What are the challenges? Challenges either for your child or challenges for yourself?
Yeah. I was always afraid because you hear these horror stories of the backstage moms. You hear the moms that are that run the career for their child. And so I was like, oh my gosh, how can I not be that?
Right.
I'm like, but I'm also not going to let you out of my sight on set because you hear the other horror stories. So I'm like, I have to be here and figure out how to not be annoying. And I found that just standing around being quiet, as long as you're not putting yourself in a position where you're in everybody's way, or you're asking a lot of questions, or you're trying to direct your child in front of the director, like you can't do
Right.
those things.
Mm-hmm.
I've just found that, I mean, I build relationships with the crew. I do whatever I can to like, get them something if they need something or whatever. If I'm going to make a coffee run, be like, do you need anything? And, I'm getting to know the other actors, and I'm here. Like, yes, I'm a mom, and yes, I'm going to be on set when she's on set. But when I'm not, when we're just hanging around, if you need something, if you need me to run, get something, I will. And so I found that it's easy to just strike up conversations with people if you're interested in what they're doing. And I'm very interested in behind the camera stuff. So, everyone just kind of wants to talk about themselves, really. So if you talk to people and let the director be the director,
Right. Yeah.
and just be present, seen, not heard, then you're not a troublesome parent. It's when you start becoming like, oh no, can we do that again because her hair was in her face, or can we
Right.
just trusting that they're going to get the shot that they want, and making sure your child is prepared beforehand. All of that stuff, when it comes together and you allow your kid to do what they're gifted to do in front of the camera, and allow everybody else to do what they're gifted to do behind the camera,
Right. Yeah.
then you just stand there and be a proud mom.
Yeah. No, that's great advice.
One of the things we talked about in the first half of our interview that I think I'd like to go back to for a moment is the strategies on how to remain uncompromised in the film world. And especially so, of course, with your child. Are there actually some things you can point other parents to that would help them with that task?
Yes, absolutely. So I was doing some searching, trying to figure out how to be a good mom to a child actor online. And I was going back and forth between two different programs that I had found. One was kind of dealing more in the secular world, how to, be the mom of a child actor. And then the other one I found was called Uncompromised Christian Actor Coaching, and it was run by T.C. Stallings. And I had seen a few of his movies, so I knew who he was, but the program seemed to be more addressed to adult actors.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I'd like to learn all this stuff. And so I messaged him and I said, hey, my daughter's the actor, but I think it's important for me to know these things. Can we do this program? And so he said, absolutely, yes. So I got the program, and the whole first half of his program is kind of like spiritual skills coaching, like how to know your purpose. Is this really what you're supposed to be doing? Is this what God has for you? All that kind of stuff. So the whole first half of his program just deals with that, deals with the spiritual aspect.
Very
of it.
foundational. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the second half of his program deals with the acting coaching skills. And it's for like adults. And, there's some skills that I was able to like help Emma, go through, but most of it was like not compromising in a scene where like maybe you're supposed to kiss somebody. Like he even shows different strategies with camera angles, and he has his wife with him and shows like this whole hand process covering your mouth thing, so that if it's not something that can be taken out of a scene, like it's important for like a husband and wife to like actually share a kiss, how you can do it without compromising your relationship with your spouse. So after you do all that, after you go through the coaching, there is a private Facebook group that you can join, that you get a code to join. And that has been the most, all of the teaching was very great, but that group is such an amazing group of actors of all over the United States and in all different avenues. There's, people that are in comedy, people that are just starting out, people that have been in multiple films, but it is a place where it is safe and you can get loving feedback. TC will come in and do Zoom lives with the group every once in a while, and we'll all get to like ask him questions, things like that. And so it's been such a foundational part of how we have decided to be so uncompromised. And it's not that you have to stay in the faith-based world, which is great if that's the route, but it's like any kind of movie, how you can be uncompromised in Hollywood, because I mean, it was what encouraged Emma to change the line in her script to what she wanted it to be, what she felt comfortable saying. And as she gets older and she's more comfortable with other things, because I've even had to be careful in faith-based projects for kid roles because, I mean, like very great stories that need to be told, but I don't really want my child to be a trafficked child, but there's going to be movies that deal with human trafficking or whatever, I mean, like it's not something that I'm comfortable with her being in.
So is TC Stallings an acting coach as well outside of this program with regards to compromise? And does he help actors with regards to their acting specifically?
Well, within the group, he's very good at commenting on, like, if you upload an audition, because it's a private group. So it's like if somebody's doing an audition for a role and they've got some time before they need to submit it, you can put it in the group and we can all kind of comment on, like, whether or not you need better lighting, sound, oh, make this part more believable, blah, blah, blah. And TC always is very good at making comments on those things in the group.
Nice.
He will do, every once in a while, he'll do Zooms where all of us can be in a room together. And he talks a lot about the industry and what's going on and talks into each of our lives. But on the side, I mean, he's very busy himself. He is Emma's personal coach, but he doesn't set out to be a coach to people. He's a good friend of ours. And so he has been coaching her for the past 2 years. And so because of that, actually, because like he coaches her and his son AC, who's actually in the new Kendrick Brothers movie, Forge. So because he coaches both AC and Emma, he's decided that there is a need for like a UCAC youth. So we're in the process of making that branch out. So we've got the UCAC, where it's welcome to all adults and acting field or whatever. Even writers, I mean, like I benefit from it, and I don't know what to do in front of the camera. I'm like, what do I do with my hands? But but like even people that are interested in more like behind the scenes stuff, it's very beneficial. But he's going to start branching out and doing this youth thing as Emma kind of being the ambassador, I guess, of it, that like he's helped her and AC, and they both recently had a feature film. And so if we can get more youth involved in it to help kind of set the stage for young actors coming up and how to be uncompromised and hopefully stop that trend of, bad things happening with young kids in Hollywood, giving them a voice and power to be like, no.
That's awesome. What's next for you guys? Do you have any specific goals or dreams, aspirations, anything like that?
Well, I am just walking through every door that God opens as far as my script goes. So that would be amazing for it to come to fruition. And then that would be a role that Emma would be cast in. I'm working on trying to write a TV series based off my private investigating adventures.
Oh, interesting.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's very different to write TV versus feature. So that's kind of been a new venture for me. I've helped produce and direct a few shorts that my co-writer of my feature, she has written them and I've helped produce on those. So I've gotten to see a lot more of the behind the scenes and how all that stuff works just in some shorts. And so those will go in the, the film circuit here pretty soon. And for Emma, we just keep working. TC, he trains her twice a month and he trains her like she's an adult. She works on, difficult emotions. And it is hard for kids to like branch into the kind of emotion that you might need for some scenes. It's easier to cast them in very kid roles. But she really enjoys the challenge of bringing the emotion to a scene. Like she loved your table read and having to give different emotions, things that she's had some tragedy in her life that she's had to go through, and she pulls from that. And so she really likes working on that kind of stuff. And so TC works with her on how to really tackle those kind of scenes and how to handle things if you need to cry. And you've got to
Right.
cry like 15 takes, like how to do it, I mean, just
Yeah, it's
all that,
exhausting.
all that kind of stuff. So, we're ready for whatever comes next. And, praying that, like she said, God has a plan, reason she didn't get into point. So, there's a reason.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see what this fall holds.
Yeah. And, even the process of learning how to access emotions and feel emotions, that's an incredible life skill, actually. I mean, not just for acting, but a lot of the time we avoid feeling, at least, in our culture growing up as parents, we want to shield our kids from having difficult emotions or whatever. But the reality is that life is full of a range of emotions, and some of them end up being very deep. And if we have no experience dealing with those difficult emotions, it can bring us to a very dark place at times. And so for her to have the experience knowing that this emotion can come and feel very heavy, but at the same time, it doesn't last forever. Because I know for myself, like I get very emotional as I'm writing like the emotional scenes. I feel it with my characters. So I have to let myself be in that moment while I'm writing it and, sit in it thinking like, what is the best way to navigate this scene and getting comfortable with being in those emotions. That's not easy. And so, I'm hearing so many amazing skills that she's learning. And yes, it will serve her as an actor, but it will serve her as a person as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that she has learned and gone through, like I said, if it goes nowhere and, like if she's not some A-lister at some point in time in her life, everything that she has experienced and gone through and the people that she's met, I mean, nothing's been passed over. She has, forged great relationships. She has learned a whole lot on how to be around adults. I mean, being an only child, she deals with basically adult conversations all the time.
Right.
Only children kind of grow up a little bit more than
Yeah.
if you have siblings. But she's able to just handle things and be mature about them. And we're just very open and honest about feelings here. Like, give time to feel something, I mean, if you're going to feel something, and then we can trust that God has a plan for it. And, our faith is a huge foundation in everything that we do, regardless if it has anything to do with acting or not. And so that is something that is firm and strong here, no matter what we go through. And it's just helped her with taking on roles and being able to dive into more difficult parts. And it opens up time for questions and, like, why would my character do this? Or why would somebody do this? I mean, like when we go watch movies and we, it's different now that you've been on a set and you can like dissect. You don't sit and watch a movie normally now, ever.
Right.
That's right.
You're dissecting everything, And so she's doing that too. She's like, so she's going to be like a great continuity person because she's like, her hair is not in the right place. It's over there. When they cut back, I mean, she notices all those things now.
Yeah. My son did too. When he started working background, he would notice all the things going on in the background. I wasn't even paying attention. And he was like, do you see what they're doing over there?
Yep. She picks it out in every movie we go to see now. So it's like, okay, just enjoy it.
Yeah. Are you paying attention to the story?
Right.
Well, this has been such a great conversation. For parents of children who are actors, a lot of valuable information, but also parents who may have children who want to become actors. Perhaps they're having that discussion.
Yeah.
Or they're just starting. Things they can learn and things they can put into practice in their own families. And lots of things to think about. And I really appreciate you sharing today.
No, thank you.
Are there any final pieces of advice that you'd like to pass on?
Well, I do want to give the TC Stallings website.
Please do.
That's tcstallings.life. And so if you go there, then they have the UCAC course that you can click on right there and get going with that. That has been the biggest game changer in our family on just helping us guide in the right direction. And I mean, for parents that have kids maybe interested in acting or in the Hollywood world and stuff and just are struggling with the stress of it all, I just really think it's important to just make sure that there's great open communication between you and your kids. You're constantly checking that this is something that they want to be doing and that they are able to feel comfortable talking to you about something they may have heard on set or seen on set or whatever that maybe they think, I don't know if this is okay or not okay, because they're going to be surrounded by lots of adults.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. When we were on set, they did try to maintain their language around Emma, but that didn't always happen.
Right. Yeah.
But it opened up a conversation with Emma and I to say, look, this is not a Christian film. This is not a Christian crew. There may be Christians here. We are Christians, but we cannot put those expectations. They are doing a great job in trying to keep their language in check, knowing that that's important in front of a child. But we are all humans and we are all sinners and we all, make mistakes. So we can't have these expectations that if I'm going to be on set, everyone's going to be, perfect in every single way. And so it just opened up communications with her and I about how to talk about that and what the reality is out in the world and expectations there.
That's a great age to be able to, start teaching how to be in the world and not of it. I'm just hearing so many amazing things today and opportunities. And yeah, I know there are some scary things. So definitely, you need to guard your child and teach her how to stand up for herself and learn how to say no and all the things that you were saying and learn to take rejection and not take it personally. But yeah, this has been fantastic. And I really hope that there are parents that are listening that, if they've been on the fence of, can I do this in a way that's going to honor God, that they would be able to hear that, yes, if your child has been called to acting, you definitely can support them in a way that will honor God.
And I would love, if there's people that want to reach out to me, my Instagram is Henderson79, or if you want to put my email on the link, I'm more than happy to talk to any parent that is on the fence or struggling in the crazy world of film and, give any advice that I have experienced or can potentially help somebody with.
Well, we'll definitely put the links that you've provided in the show notes so people can follow up with you or Emma and contact you if you wish. And thanks again for your suggestion and your recommendation with regards to TC Stallings. We'll find that link and put it in the show notes as well.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you. It's been great. You guys are awesome.
It's been fun. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Faith and Family Filmmakers podcast. If you would like email reminders about newly released episodes and more, please sign up at faffpodcast.com/email. That's faffpodcast.com/email. Bringing filmmakers together for faith and family.
That's a wrap.